Hello and welcome back to Irons United's Premier League Transfer Deadline Day special. You are joined today by Jim White. Oh, sorry, no, Anton Baker. How you doing? I'm doing my best impression with my accent. Of course, we have got Stell to my left, depending on how you're looking at the camera. It could be my right. And we're welcoming back Cess, Liam Cess. How you doing, mate? You okay, Liam?
Yeah, it's been all good. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
It has been, mate. And there's been a lot of changes since you were last on.
Yeah, I know. It's been a shock to me. That's what to say the least. All these signings coming out of nowhere. I think Sullivan lost his checkbook or something, and then they've been taken hostage by Pellegrini.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just for any of you that are tuning in, what we're doing is we're going to just talk you through the end of the transfer deadline day today, which closes slam shut at 5 PM today, which is new, which I kind of like, to be honest. It means you've actually got the night to yourself. You don't have to sit and worry about transfers, getting through at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, etc. So
you don't have to stay up all night.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go to bed.
Don't go to bed. Don't go to bed.
Yeah.
But instead, just don't have your dinner. Don't have your dinner. So we have got 36 minutes to go. And we are seeing the busy transfer deadline day. West Ham have announced their 9th summer signing. Still, Lucas Perez from Arsenal. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think for a backup striker, I think he's quite decent. £4 million. He went out on loan when he wasn't breaking into the Arsenal team last season, and he scored something like 9 goals or something on loan. So I say, yeah, I think that's a pretty good deal for us, and he will actually provide decent competition to Arnautovic and to Hernandez, rather than just sort of filling up a space on the bench. He would actually be a good contender to come on, maybe in certainly in the cup games, and maybe when we're chasing a game, he'd be another striker that we could throw on. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Cess, I'd read some statistics and something saying that he's potentially created the most chances in Spain, or is he number 2 when he was at Deportivo?
Second, that's correct. Yeah, second, behind Messi.
Behind Messi. I mean, that's a hard feat in itself. I mean, you know, what are your thoughts on Lucas Perez?
I think he's a really good buy. At $4 million, that's a freaking steal. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I don't know how we pulled it off, because I think, was it Arsenal got him a few years ago for 17 million?
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
Right.
And then I felt at Arsenal he didn't really get a fair shot. I thought as he's coming on, I thought he can provide as much as possible. Also, with his creativity, I feel that he can play more positions. Like he can play striker, second striker. He can also play on the wing as well. He just provides something different as a striker. Whereas obviously Hernandez, he's a natural finisher.
Yeah, I'm sorry guys, just wanted to give you a bit of a rundown. Where I'm filming today, my family are kicking about, but I can't really move the setup today. I'm doing a bit of the recording, so you're just going to have to bear with a little bit of background noise, but it's natural, it's real life, it's just what happens. Unless you guys want to pay me some money and get me a studio, then we'll have to continue doing that as we're doing it. No, I'm excited by the Perez signing, although what happened was I felt a bit deflated after he signed, because I was straight on the phone to my cousin living down in London, massive Arsenal fan, goes to regular games. I said, we've taken a second player off you this summer, and he said, yeah, you can have him, no problem whatsoever, quite happy to take the money. And I was like, wow, maybe that's slightly harsh coming from an Arsenal fan, but you know, a bit like what you said, still strength and depth in the squad. And that's exactly what we are needing. And before we came on, was it yourself, Stell, or said about the position, how many people we've got in each position?
Yeah. We seem to now have reasonably decent players for every position on the pitch. Whereas in the past, as we all know, whenever a player's been injured, we've been scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
We've been bringing on youngsters who were probably not quite ready to play. Looking at bringing in seasoned players, players in their 30s, to cover for positions. It's been tragic, and to actually see a squad now where you can more or less say you've got a player for every position is a decent player for every position is brilliant.
Compared to how we finished off last season's transfer window, when we were looking really thin on the ground in the squad. Still, you mentioned it the other night, Cess. So what we were talking about was the fact that after signing these players, a mixture of the quality that we've brought in, but we haven't sold many players, which is what we all probably expected. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's vital that we didn't sell as many players. It's good that we've kept the likes of Obiang, obviously keeping Arnie as well, because you know that Manchester United have been interested in him, as you would say. I don't know if it's paper talk or not.
Yeah.
It's good keeping all these players and keeping Hernandez as well, because I think he'll play a vital role for the season coming up. It's just vital keeping all these players, but also bringing in these new players and then having this new manager. I think the top signing has been the manager. That's probably been the best sign.
Absolutely.
You look at
yeah.
Still, I was talking to my dad earlier on, and he said to me that, you know, bringing in Pellegrini's basically just gone to the board and said, "You want me? Give me this."
Yes.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be the Pellegrini
It's got
effect.
to be. I mean, we spoke about this, didn't we, the other day? You know, how come all of a sudden the board is spending money? You know, and we went through a brief history of our managers and perhaps why the board were reluctant to part with their cash, and yet Pellegrini comes in and he goes, "This is it, lads. You know, what do you want?" And I read that the Hernandez interview we said where Pellegrini's going for Champions League. You know, I mean, that seems to be the level that he's aiming for, and he's turned around and he's meant business. And I know you could argue there's quite a few teams in the Premier League that have brought in quite a few players, but let's focus on West Ham and the fact that they've actually spent the money that they have, and we've only let one senior player go, shows Pellegrini's intent. You know, it's what can you say? It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
He is definitely. He has. I mean, again, the other night, if you hadn't tuned in, myself and Stel done the predictions for the whole Premier League. Stel, you had West Ham in 7th. I went even more optimistic in 5th. I've seen Hernandez's interview where he does state that why not the Champions League? Why not? And he makes the most valid. But why not? Like, you go into these seasons with, you know, I don't know, maybe false optimism. But this time I'm optimistic, and I feel like it's slightly backed up. But you know, we can maybe wait and see what happens on Saturday. We'll come back to West Ham. We'll come back to West Ham in a minute. We're not the only ones that have been spending money in this transfer window, Cess. And last night, Wolverhampton Wanderers dipped their hands in their bank accounts again and signed Adam Traore, a player that we were linked with maybe through the last summer in the last window. What are your thoughts on Wolves' business in the market?
They're pretty much just going all out. They're just thinking, you know what, fuck it, let's just get all these players. Obviously, they've got that geezer, that Portuguese agent, who is playing a key role as well, getting all these Portuguese players for Wolves. And it's even right now, they're still getting, probably could get 2-3 more players before before it shuts. It's crazy. Even Fulham as well, another promoted side that are getting all these players in. I think it makes it. It's going to make it an interesting season. That's what we'll have to.
But with what, half an hour to go, it doesn't even look like they're both finished. It looks like they're potentially going into the market again. And to add to that, you mentioned that Wolves or Fulham are in talks with another player just now.
Yeah, for Timothy Fontamensa. Yeah, they're close to signing. Literally just right now.
Yeah,
close to signing.
Yeah, and
Wolves have they got I don't know if Traore is signed or
he's signed.
He's signed.
Yeah, you know, he signed them last night. Yeah,
Dendoncker signed. Yeah.
Oh, that's the player.
Klukas from Swansea as well.
Yeah.
So they are bringing an awful lot of players in at the last minute. They've got virtually a whole, God knows how many they bought. But yeah, they're going for it, aren't they?
Yeah,
they absolutely are. The other story that's potentially building a bit of momentum is the Harry Maguire story. I think Manchester United have had 2 failed bids. and Leicester are kind of sticking to their guns. Do you think there's enough time to get this deal through if there's already talks in place?
Nah, I'll be honest. I think when you look at it right now, it's just Man United being very, very desperate. You got to look. They've had so much time. If they needed a centre back, they should have sorted this out like weeks ago.
Yeah,
they should have went. You know what? All right, we want this guy. I want this guy. Let's just go for him. Bang. But they're not. There's just now they've got to the point where they're just panicking. They're just like, you know what? Let's just go for him. Today, out of nowhere, where did Godin come from? Like, oh no, we're just gonna put an approach for him. I don't know.
Is it to appease the fans, or is it because they genuinely want these players? Stell, what do you think?
I think Mourinho has made no secret that he needs more players in. And funnily enough, I kind of disagree with Cesc. I think they're going to find someone that they're going to sign. Now, whether it be that someone that they actually wanted, I don't know. But I know there's not a lot of time left, 25 minutes left. But I just wonder if they might just get someone in right at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
What,
it'll be interesting.
Who do we think though? Do we think Maguire's completely done? I mean, it's a lot of money we're talking about with 25 minutes to go. The key to this whole process, from what I understand, is I think transfers can get completed as long as they've got the notification that the both teams
that they intend to sign.
The paperwork, yeah. If the paperwork's done, then.
So negotiations have already taken place because Leicester saying they don't want to sell, but Man United have apparently submitted to.
Leicester have put in a bid for 2 centre backs, haven't they?
Correct. They got one. They got one of them already.
They've got one of them already. I bet you'll see
on medical.
Yeah, I bet you'll see Maguire going right at the last minute. You know, they must be signing 2 centre backs for a reason. Maybe they're resigned to the fact that Maguire's going to go. The thing is, they're going to get big bucks from Maguire. Was it 75 million? And I think for that, they'll let him go right at the last minute.
Well then,
we'll see.
For Leicester City to get £75 million, add that to the 75 they got from Mahrez, 150 million quid to go into the January window or next summer. I mean, it's not bad business if they're going to survive the drop potentially, and I think they've got enough there personally to survive the drop.
Yeah, exactly. We just had a comment from Matt. He's just told us Jordan Ayew signed on loan for Palace, and he's made an observation that the last 4 teams that Ayew's played for have all been relegated.
Wow. Okay.
So,
on Jordan Ayew, Stell, you made a comment beforehand saying that we've probably signed the wrong Ayew. I do like that Jordan Ayew. I think he's a quality player. It's not a player I don't think we West Ham need him with the signings we've made. But I think he, I get at Matt's point, but I think he's a quality signing for any team. He seems to give it all. What's your thoughts, Cesc?
Yeah, I do think he's a decent player, because I think the Swansea game, he was having him and his Ayew, they were thinking like ruining us for the game against us.
Yeah,
but and it's a weird one. It is a weird one, because you look by that stat where they said all the teams you've been there, you got relegated. Imagine if we signed him. That would have been awkward, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
with that stat coming in.
I think there was another bit of news breaking there it's not broken, I think people know about it, but is it Ben Arter is on his way to Cardiff City on loan from Bournemouth?
Harry Arter.
Harry Arter, sorry, Ben Arter. Sorry, I'm getting names all mixed up here. I think it was the reporter on that famous TV show that we all watch on Deadline Day. Not that I'm naming any names here. But yeah, Harry Arter is, I think, going to be making a loan move to Cardiff City. So Stell, myself and you kind of pretty much said the other day we could see Cardiff going down, if not finishing bottom. Cesc, I don't know where you're at with Cardiff City, but you know, a player of Harry Arter's ability, Premier League experience can only but help them. It's not a bad signing.
Not a bad signing, but I just don't think it's enough. What Cardiff have brought in, I don't think they've got what they've got at the moment. If you look at it on paper, you would say they're probably in a relegation battle already, or going down. But you know, it could be a strange one this season. It could be another wacky Premier League.
Yeah, you know, I suppose the worrying thing is West Ham are sitting third currently for the spending for the summer in this transfer window. And then you look at the teams below them, it's got Wolves, Fulham. That doesn't it's never going to guarantee success. You know, you've got to make sure that these players gel for one.
Yeah.
Still, were you going to add something to that?
Yeah, we praised Fulham and Wolves when we did the predictions. I think what kind of worries me now is that they're buying all these players at the last minute. I mean, it seemed quite a controlled controlled way of purchasing players.
Yeah.
They did similar to what we did at West Ham, where they bought players early, started to get them involved in pre-season, etc. And now all of a sudden, both those teams are getting in another 3 or 4 players each, if they all go through. And it kind of feels like, how many more players do you actually need, and how disruptive could that be for their season? These players have got to get up to speed. They've got to get to know their the squad that they're coming into. When will they actually start performing well? You could argue the likes of the Donker are good enough to just walk into any team, but it kind of feels like I'm sure the managers know what they're doing in both those teams.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels like they're acquiring an awful lot of players, and it kind of reminds me of Everton of last season, where they bought so many players and none of them gelled. They bought a lot of individuals, but none of them gelled. Yeah. So up until the other day, we were praising them, and now it's like, okay, you're really going for it. Everton are doing the same. Everton are in for another 3 or 4 players, all at the last minute.
Well,
the season starts at the weekend.
Yeah, tomorrow to be exact. And
tomorrow, yeah.
On that, there's one particular player that Everton are set up a medical for, and that's Mina, the Colombian centre half from Barcelona. For me personally, I think if they can pull that over the line, then that's a great deal for them. I don't think that's maybe it's a last minute decision from Everton, but in my opinion it's a good one. But Sess, you were a bit kind of not a big massive fan of Mina, according to what's your thoughts?
I'm just a bit undecided with him. I'm not really convinced by him, not just yet. Maybe my opinion will change with him.
Yeah.
Once he gets in the Premiership as a couple of months. But from what I've seen, even a couple of games at Barcelona, I just wasn't really convinced of him. Even in the World Cup, I wasn't that convinced of him. But like I said, opinions will probably change. But I don't know, with Everton, I just feel that they're making the same mistakes as last season, just buying players for the sake of it. So I don't know if there's actual plan to get all these players in. I don't know if they thought, you know what, we're gonna get this player. They're just literally thinking, oh no, we're just gonna get him.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like they're just following that same pattern as last season, and it could bite them in the arse again.
Looks like Bernard has agreed personal terms, a player that was interested in not just West Ham, not just Everton, but quite a few teams. He seems to have dropped his wage demands, and it looks like Everton are potentially going to get this one over the line. Still, do you think we've missed out on a good player of Bernard's ability?
I'm in two minds, to be honest. He clearly is a top player, and apparently it was all down to Silva's persuasive skills that got him over to Everton. But one of our guys at Irons United sort of made a good comment the other day. He will be backup to the likes of, Arnautovic and so on. So would he have got a game? It's likely that he's more likely to get a game. But that sound strange? Bernard is a top player, and yet we're suggesting that maybe he wouldn't have been first choice at West Ham. But then that demonstrates how strong our squad is, at this stage.
It demonstrates the cleverness in the business that we've done early doors. That's something that I think when you are a football fan and you come into a transfer window, everyone loves deadline day. Let's not beat about the bush. We love it. There was one particular deadline day that I won't forget. It was the Antonio.
Oh, was it Moses?
Yelovich. Like you said, Moses, etc. I think it was 4 or 5. Was it on the final day? It's exciting, and we got a couple of good signings from it. It's great, and it's nice to be involved. But realistically, you want those players bought really early in the window, so you've got time to have a pre-season under your belt. And I'm delighted that most of our signings have been made well before the deadline day, well before the season started. Players have had a chance to gel.
Yeah,
Players of
I agree
Balbuena, Diop, like whether or not they've had a great pre-season or not, they've been playing games. They know the players. They're bantering with each other. You know, you get that time to spend with each other, and that's maybe what I think is going to be slightly a negative towards Wolves, is they're doing a lot of their signings later in the window. So you've got to, like you said, still you've got to have that time to gel. But staying on the Colombian theme, it looks like potentially West Ham are pretty much got a done deal for Carlos Sanchez, the Colombian central defensive midfielder. Cess, go for it.
Okay, at first I was thinking, what the fuck? Because I remember I texted you, I was like, oh no. Because the only reason why I was acted like that is because I thought Obiang was going. I thought he was set, he was gone. I was like, we're replacing him with Carlos Sanchez, which he's not had the best of times at Villa, let's be honest. We all know that. But at the same time, you have to look at it from a deeper standpoint. You got to think, okay, he'll be third or fourth choice. He's not. It's probably going to be a loan deal. It's not permanent. So just have him for a season, and then we'll go for a top quality CDM next season. So now I've just looked at it now. I think, all right, that'll be the perfect solution at the moment, because now we can't get a top class centre mid.
I mean, unless West Ham are secretly working on a secret signing that we don't know about, in the next week we're going to unveil someone. But still, what's your thoughts on Carlos Sanchez?
I've heard a lot of the really negative comments about him. You know, how bad he was. Was it for Palace and
Villa?
Villa. Sorry, my mistake.
Right.
And I kind of been tainted by that, because I must be really honest. I didn't really follow him when he played at Villa, so I can't really. But I can. So going by what other people are saying, it sounds like he's a backup. You know, again, probably a player that's going to come on in cup games and stuff like that, to give the likes of Noble, to give the likes of Obiang a rest. And in that situation, fair enough. You know, I'm, like Seth said, I'm so happy Obiang has not gone. Although there's talk that he could still go in January. But I hope by January we're doing so well that Obiang won't want to go, and then we won't sell him. So it's strength in depth, you know, and for the amount of times that he's likely to be used, fine. Did you say it was a loan signing? Because there's no odds there either.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a loan deal. It looks like it's going to be a loan deal. I think with Carlos Sanchez, I think he's been tainted by the awful Villa side that got relegated.
Absolutely.
I think because most of the Villa players were absolutely terrible, especially that season as well.
Exactly.
I think he's been tainted by that, and I think everyone else is just gone, even including myself, which one, you know what? Nah, we don't want him, blah blah blah. But I think from Fiorentina, a few people said he actually was all right. So it's a weird one as well. But I think we've just gone by. We saw a couple of games on him, especially the World Cup as well. He didn't have the best of World Cups either.
Do you know what? If you were to sit here and judge players on one season and then judge them for the rest of their careers, you would be saying, what was that player who played for Swansea, who scored loads of goals, a Spanish forward? Michu. Yeah. And this is the reverse way I'm doing it. The world beater Michu, and now look where he is. Okay, he may have been plagued with some injuries, and I think he's now officially retired, but he's dropped his way down the ranks of the leagues. But you've got to give these guys a bit of a chance. Yeah, he was, like you said, Cess, he was plagued by the terrible squad. I mean, you can you look at this past squads of West Ham and players, and we've gone down, and look at the players that have gone on to fruition in their careers. And I think someone like Carlos Sanchez, he might surprise us. He might get a little bit more game time. We're West Ham at the end of the day. There's going to be some injuries. We know that. There's going to be injuries, and we're potentially not going to start with our, you know, all singing, all dancing starting 11 that we really want. It would be amazing if it could happen. If we could do a Leicester City and really go through a whole season without injuries, then that played a massive part in Leicester season's famous season. So hopefully, I mean, that would be good. But I think he's going to come in. He's going to do a job. You know, he's played quite a lot. I mean, he's got how many starts has he got for Colombia? He's got quite a lot of
88.
apps. Like
It
Colombia,
can't be that bad if he's played that many times.
exactly. And Colombia are Colombia are a top 10 team in the world. They're not your top 100. They're not in the 200. He's in an international side that's in the top 10 in the world, sometimes close to the top 5, and he's consistently performing for Colombia. He may not have had the best of World Cups, or I can't even particularly remember him because all I remember is Colombia punching everyone left, right, and centre. And it looked like more like a heavyweight match than it did a football match. But we've got to give him his due. So apparently the video is going to get announced pretty much soon, and then you're looking at our whole squad, and then you're thinking, right, okay. Well, here we go. Good question for you, Still. Are we bringing anyone else in?
I can't see that we are. I think as far as the last 10 minutes are concerned, I don't think there's going to be any more signings. Matt again has made a comment saying that Dendoncker could still be a loan possibility, which would be nice actually.
Who?
Sorry, not Dendoncker. Hang on a minute.
I thought you'd done a last
that one up. I completely screwed that one up, didn't I?
Drink water.
Drink water. Drink water. They both start with a D. That's why I got it wrong. So apparently that might still be on the cards. So if there's anything else to be done, then maybe it'll be him.
Yeah.
But I can't see us signing anyone else. No. And apparently Bernard has just completed his signing for Everton.
Yeah, correct. He's just signed.
That's fair play to Everton. I mean, they are doing some business late on, and they're not just throwing money on transfer fees. You got slagged off earlier in the transfer window, and rightly deserved, for £50 million for Richarlison. But
whoa, yeah, I know that still floors me to that. That still floors me, but But do you know what? Do you know what they can?
Big Sam has said. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, at least they're backing the manager, and it's not a bad thing. If he wants that guy, that's the guy he wanted. He obviously seen something with him when he worked at Watford.
Exactly.
So, we could be sitting here slagging off Richarlison, and he could start off the season banging in several goals and getting his assists. Maybe he just wasn't happy at Watford. Maybe he missed his best friend in Silva, the manager, and now they're reunited, and he's gonna find his form. Sorry, Stel, you were going to say something there.
No, Big Sam has had his say about the Everton squad. He's and he actually, for once I agree with him. He said the problem they've got is they've got an excess of players. They've got so many players on their books that I think there's going to be quite a few unhappy players come January at Everton, because how are you going to get all these players, keep them happy?
That's true.
It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting again to see if Silva can get them to gel, because they have got some decent players in. But let's see. I think what you said earlier, Anton, about our signings being done early. That pre-season is important, and Matt yet again has said, good on Huselos. He's got to take a lot of credit for the signings that we brought in, because he's helped to identify them early. We've got a pre-season there, apart from Perez and apart from Sanchez. Those other seven players have come in really early, so that bodes well for us, I think.
Absolutely. I'm just going to go into the comments just now. My niece is watching, so hi Faith, hope you're well. Matt's coming in saying £4 million for the player with the second most chances created in La Liga last year is a bargain. Yeah. Great point. Matt's also said Arsenal are livid. They paid £17 million for him and think they've basically given him away. Fans are livid is what he's saying. Evra was on 70k a week. Hugo £9 compared to Perez for £4 million. So he's making some points. Byram is expected to potentially go out to Nottingham Forest. I think they're trying for a permanent deal. But if they can't get the permanent deal over the line, it looks like it could be a loan, which can happen after the window closes. So, just briefly, thoughts on Sam Byram, Cess?
I think it is about time that he has to move on. He did try his best, but unfortunately, he was just plagued with injuries, and he just couldn't really. I felt he couldn't really settle in, and injuries really screwed him over. That's what I think.
Still,
if he needs to move on, he needs to move on. But good luck to him when he moves on.
Still.
Yeah, same really. It's such a shame he came. You know, who was it? One of his old managers called him the, quite an exciting player. And we were expecting so much from him, and it just didn't happen, did it? Really? Yeah. So I'd like to see him, if he goes out on loan. I'd like to see him do really well and then come back next season. And then, Zabaleta would have his contract would have ended by then, and then we'll have Fredericks and Byram competing for that right back spot.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like to see.
I agree with you. Still, he's young enough, he's fast enough, he's got ability. He's not had a right good chance, and sending him away on loan to a team Nottingham Forest who are going to try and push for promotion, it's only going to do him the world of good. So get him out on loan, bring him back. That's a potential positive. Let's there's 6 minutes to go in the transfer window. Summer transfer window of 2018-19 season, and let's talk about our friends over in North London, which are Tottenham Hotspur. They've been live to the training ground, and it looks like they're not even going to be signing a single player this summer.
Oh, before we do that, apparently Sanchez has signed.
Okay.
But I can't see it, but we've been told that Sanchez has signed.
Yeah, I've just been told that as well, but yeah, there's not been an official video yet. So...
let's have a...
Oh, here we are. Yeah, breaking news.
He's passed his medical. Yeah.
Yeah, breaking news. Yeah, he's passed his medical in agreed terms. So he's our 10th, or according to David Gold, our 9th summer signing.
Where are you?
Apparently, it's not alone. Apparently, it's not alone.
It's not alone. No.
Apparently, but we'll get probably confirmation on that in a second.
Okay.
Coming shortly, I suspect.
Extra said it's a 2-year permanent deal.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Do you know what? Welcome to West Ham, Carlos Sanchez. Yeah. I'm taking you as it comes. I believe in our manager, Pellegrini. So, good on you, mate. And I'm delighted to see you in West Ham colours. And I hope you give everything. That's all we ask for.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give 100%. That's all we ask for.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To all the players that are coming.
So
if he gives it.
Do you know what we need to remember as well? Remember the time we were linked to Joey Barton and the fans' backlash, and it played a part in the board deciding not to take him on board. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Fair play to West Ham guys, because the backlash Carlos Sanchez got. I mean, for me personally, you can't compare Joey Barton to Carlos Sanchez personally. And then second of all, you don't listen to the fans on that occasion. You just got to go with the man you want. Pellegrini wanted Carlos Sanchez, or Husilis wanted him, so they've went and got him for a reason.
Yeah,
we need to back him.
And every signing that we've got so far this season has been, there's not one signing that we turn around and gone, oh shit, no way. Even with the keeper that we signed, a few people have been like, well, is he an improvement on Adrian? But even there's not one signing that we've really been against. So they obviously see something in Sanchez that's impressed them enough to go, this guy's worth having.
Yeah.
So I agree. Once you've got that West Ham shirt on, the fans are going to back him, aren't they? Going to be all up for him.
Well, you better.
To be fair, at the end of the day, they're the managers and all that, and they're the directors of football. So obviously they're going to know fuckloads than we do. That's at the end of the day. So we got to trust on their instinct, really.
Let's just quickly go back to Tottenham. What's the situation? What do you think, Sis? Couple of minutes to go. Let's quickly talk about Tottenham.
What is there to say? They've just signed no one.
Yeah.
It's going to probably bite him in the arse.
I think it's going to. I said this the other night. I said that not just the transfers, but the stadium problems that they've been having. That between everything that might actually have a massive impact and could actually put them back a couple of years, unless they're preparing for a big summer next summer. Stell, what's your thoughts on Tottenham?
I don't really care, mate. I don't. If they don't want to sign someone, then they're confident enough to go with who they believe they have.
Yeah.
I've got a mate that I play football with on Tuesday nights who's a Spurs fan, and he was saying, he doesn't understand it. If they do sign someone now, saw a bit late in the day. I don't know if they put that bid in for Grealish. Was it 25 mil? That was below what Villa wanted.
Yeah.
But they must be confident enough to think that they've got enough of a squad there to, we had this discussion again the other day. Do you need to sign a player in order to improve? And I would say, don't have to, but it helps. It helps. If you sign a quality player, we talked about, we touched on City, and that they only signed something like 3 players. But what City do is they fine tune. Now, I don't think Spurs are there at that point yet to be able to fine tune. So only signing maybe 1 player or whatever. I think, if they wanted to progress, to get sort of like really properly break into, try and win the league or whatever, they should have gone for a player or 2, but they haven't done so. But frankly, if we finish above them, I'd love that.
Just in time.
I think everyone would love that.
Sorry to interrupt you there. West Ham have now officially announced Carlos Sanchez. So let's just have a read and see what West Ham are actually saying about this deal. Just in time. Carlos Sanchez. There we are.
Yeah.
So if any user are obviously Twitter, Facebook, whatever, they've now released his welcome video. They're ramming home the Colombian flag in our faces.
Yeah.
Do you know what? So much negativity goes towards this player. There's something. Do you know? Here's something for you. One of my best friends is Colombian. I've got an invested interest in Colombian football. Apart from the fact, like I said earlier on, they sometimes play games like they're in a heavyweight boxing match. But out with that, they are in the top 10 in the world as a footballing team. And there's a reason for that, because they have good players. That's why I'm a fond fan of Mina. I was always a fan of Carlos Bacca.
Oh, Mina has just signed for Everton.
Yeah.
Just been confirmed as well.
So, these players, he's got experience of playing in the Premier League. That's got to go for him. So I'm excited to see him. I'm quite excited to see him. 2-year permanent deal. There's obviously something there that Pellegrini likes. So Mina has signed for Everton.
Mina signed for Everton, 28.5 mil.
28. I think that's a good deal, guys. I really do. And that's the window shut now, isn't it?
Well, more or less. Who does anyone know? Kaglar Soyuncu. Anything about him? He's about to sign for Leicester. Oh no, he's signed for Leicester. I wonder what position he plays. Any idea? I'm just trying to weigh in that maybe Maguire's still going to Man U, but I think they've fucked up, haven't they?
They've ballsed it, I think.
So just to give you a bit of insight, Bernard has spoken out and said why he chose Everton. I chose Everton because of all the things I had heard about Marco Silva, and after speaking to him I was happy with what he said to me. The manager made me feel confident about playing here. He's a very good coach and he's achieved really good things at the clubs. Everton is a club with a great structure and a lot of tradition, historically the 4th most successful club in England. Yeah, okay Bernard, you knew that. When I found out about this opportunity and what the manager wanted out of me, I was happy. This is why I made my choice, because of the confidence both the manager and the club showed in me. So, yeah. He's
good luck, Bernard.
Yeah.
Good luck.
All my Man United fans are going like ballistic at the moment. They are pissed off. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to kind of flick through and see if there's anything potentially in the. Sometimes they kind of break some news saying players are potentially going to happen. Deadline for English clubs to make permanent transfer has now arrived. Remember, EFL clubs still have until August the 31st to make loan signings, and players can still leave England for foreign clubs. So I think the deal for Sam Byram is not hanging in the balance. It still could be a loan, so still could go through, like we mentioned.
Well, I think we'll still see maybe 1 or 2 players going out on loan to championship teams.
Yeah,
because I think that's possible, isn't it? So there's nothing else, is there? Brighton have signed a player. Dan Burn from Wigan,
and that's why, in the nicest way possible towards these teams. That's why I think a lot of these potential teams will struggle, because I feel like they've strengthened as if. I hope it's not going to come back and bite me, but it's like they've strengthened as if they're going to try and win the championship.
Yeah.
It's maybe a yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Huddersfield have signed is Isaac Mbenza from Montpellier. So there are a few things trickling through.
A little bit more information on Carlos Sanchez. I'll just read what's coming from the website. West Ham United are delighted to confirm the signing of Colombia midfielder Sanchez. The experienced 32-year-old who has 88 caps for his country has joined the Hammers on a 2-year contract from Italian club Fiorentina. The defensive midfielder, who has appeared at 5 major tournaments, massive experience, including 2 FIFA World Cup finals, is looking forward to working under Pellegrini. He says it's an amazing opportunity, an amazing project the club are leading, being ambitious and keen to achieve good things. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very excited and looking forward to achieving lots. I decided to come here because first, it's the Premier League, second, it's a beautiful club and the fans are always helping the club, and third, for me, it's an amazing opportunity, an amazing project the club are leading, being ambitious and keen to achieve good things. I'd like to thank all the people, the whole club, for having me. So a little history on Sanchez. A move to West Ham represents Sanchez's second spell in the Premier League. He previously spent 2 seasons with Aston Villa between 2014 and 2016. So he said previously at Aston Villa, we started very well, but sadly it didn't end well. But I always maintained the same desire to return, and here I am with the same mission, with the same desire and dream, and I'm very grateful to everyone at West Ham. Lastly, Mario Husilos, the director of football at West Ham, he's saying Carlos is a very experienced player. His career I have always followed closely and with admiration. So he made a great impression for Elche in Spain, which I was sporting director with Malaga, and came back to Spain last season on loan with Espanyol. Plus, of course, he's already experienced of England and the Premier League from his time with Aston Villa. He's also been a regular in the first team for Colombia for many years and is a very important player for them at the World Cup this summer. He has a great quality as a holding midfielder. He can also cover other positions, but it is a defensive midfielder that he really excels. He's also a fantastic professional, with great character, who will be very good personality within the dressing room. I have known the Colombia national team coach, Jose Peckerman, for many, many years, and he's always spoken very highly of Carlos. So, there we go. So many connections, and it all adds up.
Absolutely.
That's enough for me to feel happy in the decision they've made.
And just as another update, Everton have completed the transfer of Andre Gomez. Fucking hell.
Hey, what?
Andre Gomez.
Where'd that come from?
So they've had
from Barcelona.
Bernard, Mina, and Gomez from Barcelona all have signed. Fuck's sake.
Did you mention earlier on about Huddersfield have signed Montpellier winger Isaac Mbenza on a season-long loan? The club have the option to make a permanent deal at the end of the season. Don't know too much about him, to be fair. But, you know...
Sorry, go on.
What were you going to say there, Stel?
Fulham have just signed yet another player, Marseille midfielder.
That's a really good. That's a really good buy.
Yeah,
that's a really, really good buy. Yeah, he's a fucking machine, absolute machine.
Going to be an interesting season, lads.
He is. That's a really good signing for them. I'll have to give it to Fulham.
Yeah,
that's a really good signing. 30 million as well. Yeah,
30 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Fulham are going
signing.
for it. Wolves are going for it. Everton at the last minute are going for it. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You know, Anton, when we did the predictions, we said there's going to be like 4 or 5 teams that are going to be vying for like 6th, 7th spot, that sort of thing. I think we've got more competition now than we anticipated.
I don't know if you should were talking about it and I just completely ignored you, but were you just talking about the Fulham player?
Yes. Agonisa, yeah.
You just literally were speaking about that?
Yeah.
Can you tell I was away in another world there for a second? Apologies, still. Sorry.
It's all right, mate. It weren't me. It was Seth that was talking.
All right, sorry. Yeah. But that probably, we could be sitting here just waiting for other news to come in, and there's probably no real point. News from earlier on today was Chelsea confirmed the Kovacic loan from Real Madrid, player that West Ham were supposedly linked to, but I think that's a great signing. I remember
we had that conversation.
Yeah.
That conversation.
You really liked him, Seth, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I remember I was telling you about him, but I was gutted. But it is what it is, man. Yeah.
So just out of interest, with that 30...
Just a quick one, mate.
All right, go for it.
There's a comment. Richard Walton has asked, is Sanchez signing as a part exchange involving Fernandes and Cash? Don't think he is. We've not heard anything about Fernandes going.
Nothing been said about it. I was just literally about to say what happens to Fernandes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
The thing
I
is,
thought he was going to go, but then the European teams, they're
don't end till the end of the
doesn't
few
end,
weeks time.
so he could still go. He could still go.
How old is Fernandes?
He's
23, 24,
Yeah.
Yeah,
something like that. He's
Yeah.
young.
he's still young, yeah.
yeah. I don't know where I'm at with Fernandes. He's been at the club now for a couple of years. People might say he's not had maybe, I don't know. I think he has had a couple of chances.
Yeah, he has.
He's been up and down. And we have to be a bit harsh sometimes. I just don't see where he fits in just now. I literally cannot see how he can fit into this squad.
Well, he's not. I don't know if he's injured, but he's not played hardly any pre-season.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him. You could tell there are several players that we didn't see in pre-season that they're not going to be part of the makeup of the main squad.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
he was one of them.
Does that Fulham, just out of interest, does that Fulham deal of £30 million take them over the 100 million marker?
We just to find out. I think it may do.
Because I mean that's crazy.
It might do.
Crazy backing by the Fulham owners to their manager. I genuinely believe that Fulham have done big bold statement here, but Fulham have had a better business than Wolves, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
more
can agree with that. Like the
They
players
brought
we've
in more
got,
class.
Schürrle on loan, Seri, Agonisa now.
Yeah.
They are really, really top players. That could be hidden gems. Jeez,
Yeah,
but I'm
absolutely.
jealous. I'm jealous of that signing as well. Because
So the deadline day's finished. It's nearly 5:10. We could be sitting here all night looking at other deals, so we probably won't need to keep you any longer. What we will say is Harry Maguire looks like he's stayed at Leicester City. They've kept their man. Sanchez of Manchester United put out a statement. I don't know if you've seen his news. He had a chat with Sky Sports earlier today, saying that we should be signing players of Vidal's quality. He looks a bit baffled at why basically Manchester United are not signing anyone, and it looks like Manchester United have failed again in signing players that they really want. Coming to the tail end of the transfer window. We know Chelsea have broke the world record for a goalkeeper just after Liverpool have broke the record for a goalkeeper. West Ham have made, is it officially now 9 or 10? How many was that?
Well, with Xande Silva, it's 10.
Yeah,
10 now.
Yeah, 10 summer signings, and it's a really exciting time to be a West Ham fan. And what I will say to you West Ham fans out there, we go to Liverpool, we go to Anfield on Sunday. And it's never going to be an easy place. It never is an easy place. And let's just stay nice and calm.
I'll be there Sunday, so I'm just going to be as loud as possible.
I seen you at the last one, Cess. I seen you at the last one, and I couldn't miss you, to be fair.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, you got,
that story. When I nearly got kicked out. Man.
Yeah, because you were getting soaked from beer. So
yeah, and it wasn't even my beer that got someone through. It was someone else that threw the beer, and then I'd got escorted out by 2 stewards and a copper.
Yeah,
and I had my beers in my hand.
So yeah, it's been a great transfer window, to be fair. Not just a West Ham fan, but as a neutral, just looking in and watching it. Clubs have made moves, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see what the top 5 spending clubs ish. Seeing teams like West Ham, Wolves, and Fulham in there is really nice, and it's nice to see David Sullivan and David Gold put their hand in their back pocket and not. I mean, here's a good question. Still, you talk about this a lot. What is West Ham's net spend this summer?
Get the calculator.
Mate, their net spend is about £90 million.
Yeah.
And
if not more.
And to be fair, at the beginning of the summer window, I'm adamant we were all having these chats, and you in particular had said, I guarantee it will be like £5 million. I'm not digging you out. I'm just making because I think you were saying what every West Ham fan was thinking.
Yeah, I did say that. I said for every player we buy, we'll sell.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've only sold one player is I'm amazed. I'm pleasantly amazed. But I think we all thought that we were going to buy 6 players and sell 5. That's what I thought we were going to do. But fair play to them. Fair play to them. They've actually spent a bit of cash. Let's just hope that come the winter transfer window, they don't start flogging off players here, there, and everywhere.
But they've obviously here's a key player I just briefly want to discuss before we go. Robert Snodgrass. That could have been a very easy decision to let him at least go on loan to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
If there's one player that would have been the easiest deal to put through, would have been letting him go. Pellegrini he's obviously looking at squad rotation.
Yeah, he is.
And he's looking at players at Snodgrass's ability to bring someone. I mean, you look at our bench. Sorry, Still, go for it. Go for it, Still.
I tell you something. We're going to win a cup this season. Why? Because we've got players, backup players that are going to take us through. Don't laugh, you cunts. We've got backup players
I'm not laughing,
that are going to take us through to the latter stages of a cup run. Like the Snodgrasses, and I'm not a Snodgrass fan, but we've got players like that. Got Zabaleta, Snodgrass, Antonio hasn't gone anywhere. We've got Perez now up front. We can field a very strong second team when we start playing the cup games, and I reckon we're going to get through to the latter stages of a cup, then start bringing in the first team players, and we're going to win a. We're going to go to We're going to go to a final.
Stelios, what are you doing to us? What are you doing to us?
To be fair, I'm literally I'm begging for a cup run. I've been begging for this for fucking years. Hopefully, I just want a day out. I just want something that I could be like, at least we got to Wembley.
Well, that's if we get tickets for it.
Yeah, true. Right. I'll climb over the fence after.
I'll be joining you, mate. I will be joining you.
I'll climb over, honestly.
So here we go. Just quickly to give you an update. There's a thing called the deal sheet. Should a top flight club submit a deal sheet by 5 PM, they will have until 7 PM to complete the deal with the use of a deal sheet. What is a deal sheet?